Nobody tells American women this. The exhaustion, the emotional flatness, the feeling of arriving at the end of each day, having given everything to everyone and kept nothing, that is not a personality type. It is not an inevitable feature of a busy life. It is the direct result of evenings structured around the wrong things. European women, specifically the ones I have watched in certain circles in France, Italy, and Spain, figured this out generations ago. What they do between 7 p.m. and sleep is the reason they look, feel, and carry themselves the way they do. Today, I am giving you all of it. Before the first habit, I want to name something that makes everything else make sense. There is a French concept called the coupure, the cut. The deliberate, non-negotiable separation between the working self and the personal self. In France, in Italy, in Spain, this cut is cultural infrastructure. Shops close, phones are put down, the table is set. Something shifts, not because the work is finished, because it never fully is, but because a decision has been made that the self is not available for depletion after a certain hour. American culture has no equivalent. The evening bleeds directly from the workday into the couch, the phone, the passive consumption of content that neither restores nor stimulates, just fills. And the cost of that is carried in the face, in the body, in the quality of sleep, in the emotional reserves available the following morning. What I am about to give you is not a European aesthetic. It is a European architecture, the specific structure of an evening that produces a different kind of woman by morning. And the first habit is the one that sets the entire structure in place. But I want to explain something about why it works before I tell you what it is, because without the understanding, it reads like a lifestyle tip. With it, it reads like what it actually is, the foundational act of self-preservation. 1. The Coupure, the art of the hard stop, and why European women treat 7 p.m. as a non-negotiable threshold. Here is what most people do not understand about rest. Rest is not the absence of stimulation. Passive screen consumption, the default American evening, produces what neuroscientists at the University of California call passive fatigue accumulation. The nervous system remains in a state of low-grade activation, cortisol does not descend, and the brain does not enter the restorative idle mode it requires before sleep. You are horizontal. You are not resting. European women, and I am speaking specifically of the women I have watched in French and Italian social circles, not a generalization about a continent, treat the evening threshold as a hard boundary because they were raised watching their mothers treat it that way. The laptop closes. The work conversation ends. What follows is governed by a completely different set of rules. The internal decision behind this habit is the one most American women have never been given permission to make, that your time and your nervous system after a certain hour belong to you, not to productivity, not to responsiveness, not to the feeling that you should be doing something useful, to you. I'm going to tell you exactly what they fill that time with, but I need you to hold something first, because the second habit is the one that surprised me most when I first observed it, and it connects to the Coupure in a way that explains why the whole system works. Stay with me. 2. The table as ritual. Why European women never eat standing up, scrolling, or in a hurry after dark. This sounds small. It is not. In France and Italy, the evening meal is not a refueling stop. It is the social and sensory anchor of the day. The non-negotiable daily ritual that signals to the body, the nervous system, and everyone in the household that something has shifted. The table is set properly, not elaborately, properly. A cloth or a placemat, real glasses, a candle if there is one available. The phone is elsewhere. A study from Cornell University's Food and Brand Lab found that the environment in which food is consumed directly governs not just how much is eaten, but how completely the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state, activates during the meal. Dim light, reduced noise, and the absence of screens produced measurably greater parasympathetic activation, better digestion, and higher post-meal satiety than identical meals consumed in bright, stimulating environments. European women have known this without the study for centuries. The table is medicine. The ritual of sitting down, of making the meal an occasion even when alone, even when it is simple, even when the day was terrible. That ritual is the signal the body receives that safety has arrived, that the day is over, that now, finally, something is being given back. What I find most telling is what European women do not do at the table. They do not discuss problems, grievances, or logistics. The French have a cultural norm, somewhat fading now, but still present in certain families, of treating the dinner table as a protected conversational space, light, pleasurable, present. The The difficult conversations happen elsewhere. The table is for enjoyment. The habit that follows from this is one I did not expect to find in my research on this topic, and it challenges something that most women, particularly women over 40, have been told repeatedly and incorrectly. I'll give you the next habit now. 3. The evening walk. What Italian and Spanish women know about movement after dark that science is only recently confirming. In Italy and Spain, it has a name. The Passeggiata, the evening stroll, taken after dinner, at a pace that could only be described as deliberately unhurried, through the town or the neighborhood, greeting people, looking at nothing in particular, being in no hurry to arrive anywhere. This is not exercise. It is not a fitness practice. That distinction matters enormously because the intention determines the physiological outcome. Research from Stanford University found that walking at a slow, voluntary pace, what they classified as leisure walking rather than exercise walking, produced significantly greater reductions in rumination, the repetitive negative thought cycling associated with anxiety and depression, than vigorous exercise. The mechanism is specific. Leisure walking engages the default mode network of the brain in a way that allows unresolved thoughts to surface, process, and dissolve without the cognitive effort required to force resolution. European women who take the evening walk are not burning calories. They are processing the day, clearing the psychological residue of it, so that what they bring to bed is not the accumulated weight of everything unresolved. They arrive at sleep lighter, and it shows, not just in mood, in the face. Chronic psychological rumination is one of the most consistent drivers of elevated evening cortisol, which, as we discussed in our Chinese habits video, accelerates collagen breakdown during the exact window the skin needs for repair. The Passeggiata is 20 minutes, no destination required, no phone in hand, the pace of someone who has nowhere urgent to be, which is precisely the pace that heals. The Undeniables blueprint works through this same principle, that the habits which transform how you carry yourself are almost never dramatic. They are specific, daily, and done with intention. It is linked in the description. 4. The sensory wind down. How European women use light, scent, and temperature to tell the body that the day is finished. This is the habit that looks most like an aesthetic choice and functions most like a clinical intervention. In the homes of French and Italian women I have spent time in, something happens around 8 or 9 in the evening that I noticed before I could articulate it. The overhead lights go off. Lamps come on. Low, warm. A candle is lit. The temperature of the room drops slightly. A window opened, a layer added, sometimes a specific scent, a diffuser, a candle, a spray on the linen. This is not interior design. It is chronobiology. The human circadian rhythm is governed primarily by light, specifically by the spectral quality and intensity of light received through the retina and processed by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the brain's master clock. Bright, blue spectrum light, the light of overhead fixtures, screens, fluorescent environments, signals the brain that it is midday and suppresses melatonin production. Warm, dim light signals the approach of darkness and initiates the hormonal cascade that prepares the body for sleep. European women, in managing the light environment of their evenings, are managing their hormonal chemistry, whether they know the mechanism or not. The temperature piece is equally specific. Core body temperature must drop by approximately 1 degree Celsius to initiate sleep onset. A cooler evening environment, the open window, the lighter layer, accelerates this drop. The scent piece. Lavender has the most robust research support of any olfactory sleep aid, with multiple studies confirming measurable reductions in heart rate, blood pressure, and sleep onset time. Women who grew up in households where this sensory transition happened naturally were given, without knowing it, a pharmaceutical-grade sleep preparation protocol. Women who grew up without it can build it. The body responds within days. 5. The refusal of passive consumption. What European women do with their hands and minds in the hours before sleep. This is the habit that most directly separates what I have observed in European households from the American evening default, and it is the one most likely to provoke resistance because it asks for something that passive consumption specifically removes: the willingness to be the author of your own evening rather than the audience of someone else's. The women I am describing do not watch 3 hours of television. Some of them watch some television, but it is chosen, specific, and has a defined end. What fills the rest of the evening is what I can only describe as active leisure: a book, a piece of handwork, knitting, needlepoint, something that occupies the hands while the mind drifts. A letter written by hand. A conversation, an actual one without phones on the table. A piece of music listened to with attention rather than as background. The distinction between active and passive leisure is not moral. It is neurological. Passive consumption, particularly screen-based, maintains the brain in a state of externally directed attention that prevents the internal processing the mind requires. Active leisure, reading, creating, conversing, engages what psychologists call restorative attention, a mode of engagement that simultaneously absorbs and restores, leaving the person more rather than less replenished at its conclusion. The women who knit in the evenings in northern France are not doing it because they need socks. They are doing it because their grandmothers understood, without the vocabulary of neuroscience, that the hands occupied in gentle, repetitive, purposeful work send the nervous system into a state of productive calm that 2 hours of television cannot replicate. 6. The skin as evening ceremony. Why European women treat their nighttime routine as the most important investment of the day. In France particularly, skincare is not a vanity practice. It is a philosophical position. The evening skincare routine in a French woman's household is unhurried, specific, and treated with the same seriousness that another woman might bring to a professional responsibility. Because in the French understanding, it is one. The science supports this seriousness completely. Skin cellular repair and regeneration occurs primarily between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., governed by the peak of growth hormone secretion that occurs in deep sleep during this window. The products applied in the evening are not competing with sun exposure, environmental pollution, or the dehydrating effects of air conditioning. They are working with a body in full repair mode, but the ritual matters as much as the products. A 2021 study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that consistent evening self-care rituals, regardless of their specific content, produced measurable reductions in cortisol and improvements in subjective well-being that accumulated over time. The act of treating yourself with deliberate, unhurried care signals something to the nervous system that cannot be replicated any other way, that you matter enough to be tended to. French women learned this from their mothers and grandmothers as a non-negotiable daily act of self-respect. Not luxury, not vanity. Standard. The internal shift it requires is the same one behind every habit in this video, the decision that you are worth the time you give to yourself in private. 7. The journal and the intention. How European women close the day with deliberate reflection instead of carrying it into tomorrow. The last habit is the quietest, and it is the one that ties every other habit together into a coherent philosophy of what an evening is for. Many of the women I am describing, not all of them, but enough that I noticed the pattern, end their evenings with some form of written reflection. Not journaling in the therapeutic sense, something briefer and more purposeful. 3 things observed, 1 thing resolved, 1 intention for tomorrow, 5 minutes, by hand, in a dedicated notebook kept by the bed. What this practice does neurologically is something that sleep researchers have studied directly. A 2018 study from Baylor University found that participants who spent 5 minutes before bed writing a specific to-do list for the following day fell asleep significantly faster than those who wrote about completed tasks, because the act of externalizing tomorrow's demands onto paper relieves the brain of the monitoring function that keeps it activated during the transition to sleep. But beyond the sleep science, the evening reflection is the act of being the conscious author of your own life rather than its passive subject. The woman who ends her day by noting what she observed, what she learned, and what she intends. That woman wakes up differently than the one who fell asleep mid-scroll. She wakes up with a thread, a continuity, a sense that her days are building towards something rather than simply passing. That quality, the sense of being deliberately constructed rather than circumstantially assembled, is exactly what people feel in the presence of a woman who has done the internal work. It shows, not in any single habit, in all of them, accumulated, 7 habits, none of them expensive, none of them dramatic, all of them the result of a single underlying decision that European women were raised to make and that American women were never taught to consider, that the evening is not where the day ends. It is where the woman you are tomorrow is built. That decision, made consistently, changes everything. How you look, how you sleep, how you feel, how you carry yourself when you walk into a room the following morning. The Undeniables Blueprint is the 30-day curriculum for the woman ready to make that decision across every area of her life, not just the evenings. Linked in the description. Your assignment: choose one habit from this list. Begin tonight, not next week, tonight. Come back and tell me which one you chose and what shifted. I will see you in the next one. Isabel.